My name is Ahmad Sanai bin Abdul Haris.
My name is Nabil Fahmi Uslan.
My name is Nur Batrisha Huda binti Jamil.
My name is Siti Zakira Imana binti Abdul Rahman.
My name is Nur Shakina binti Mansur.
My name is Nurul Nabiha binti Muhammad Yusri.
For introduction, hazard analysis and critical control point is a management system in which food safety is addressed through the analysis and control of biological, chemical, and physical hazards from raw material production, procurement and handling to manufacturing, distribution, and consumption of the finished product. It is recognized worldwide as the most effective managing system. For the successful implementation of a HACCP plan, management must be strongly committed to the HACCP's concept. A firm commitment to HACCP by top management provides company employees with a sense of the importance of producing safe food. Knowing the importance of ensuring food safety in the entire food supply chain, we at Kokonattsu are committed to implementing the HACCP system in our food production. We establish a HACCP plans to prepare for each process or product and identify possible hazards. Besides, we control in place to make sure the hazards are eliminated or controlled to ensure acceptable levels in the Kokonattsu food product.
Company profile. Kokonattsu is a Japanese word which means coconut. Our mission statement is Kokonattsu Sdn Bhd is a dedicated team of talented people who are focused on delivering outstanding products quality of jam products. Our mission is to have an unparalleled product and services for all our customers. We are very committed to creating a respectful and supportive work atmosphere for our family of employees where everyone is equal. This is our organizational chart. Our company was led by the one and only chairman, Mr. Haji Sofyan bin Hassan, and followed by other managers.
Ahmad Hasanain as a halal executive responsible for establishment, halal certification and halal file. Nurul Nabiha as a procurement is to provide current list of approved ingredient. Nur Shakina as a production manager is to advise team on process step and implementation of corrective measure. Nabil Irfan as an equipment specialist is to ensuring the team aware of equipment. Siti Zakira Imana as a microbiologist is to assist team with microbiological matter. Luqman as a quality control manager is to ensuring manufacture product follow requirement. Batrisha Huda as a logistics specialist is to monitoring the process of transportation, storage and distribution processing.
These are food safety policy and objective of Kokonattsu Sdn Bhd. Generally, we are ready and determined to produce safe and high quality product by following all the related guidelines to eliminate the existing hazard throughout the process. Our aims are to produce cost-effective products, and food recall shall not occur even once, while customer complaint received shall not more twice per year.
Next, for product description, our product name is Kaya Coconut Jam. This is a PHF, which is potentially hazardous food due to concentrated semi-solid final product. This Kaya become PHF once the customer open the tin can, and it will become moldy if it is not stored in a proper temperature. For labeling and storage, Kaya should be stored in a proper temperature, which is in a cool and dry place at temperature below than 22 degrees Celsius. Moreover, Kaya Coconut Jam is a directly consumed product and it's intended for general public but not suitable for kids below 1 year old. The shelf life of Kaya Coconut Jam is within 3 until 4 months, depends if it kept refrigerated after consumer open it. It will be sold at every retail store, wholesale, supermarket and hypermarket. We also provide a special distribution control, which is keep the temperature below 22 degrees Celsius. Next, Kaya also have an allergen, which are egg and milk. And lastly, for traceability code, it contained date of manufacturing and production code. Our product contains these raw materials, which are egg, sugar, water, coconut milk, wheat flour, modified cornstarch, and beta-carotene. And the packaging material that we use is aluminium.
This is our plant layout. Our company uses the U-flow type of plant layout. The blue arrow is for the material flow, meanwhile the red one is for the people or the workers flow. Move on to the processing flow. We started with receiving the raw material. In this process, our quality control officer will check the material before accepting. Secondly is storage. We do have dry storage and the frozen storage to store our raw material. Next, before the mixing process, one of the ingredients need to be filtered, which is the water. Then mixing all the ingredient and then cooking. After that, filling the cooked jam into the can and crimping it. Next, sterilization process to remove and kill the bacteria. Then labeling. After labeling, we store our finished product in the dry storage. And lastly, distribution.
For receiving process, there are biological, chemical, and physical hazards exist. However, as we can see from the table, these hazards are found as not significant hazard after going through the food safety risk matrix. So, receiving process is not included as critical control point.
In the storage process, which is frozen storage, there are biological and physical hazards. In this process, after undergo the food safety risk matrix, this process is identified as the first HACCP because our raw material that's stored in the frozen storage is a sensitive material. For the dry storage process, there are also a biological and physical hazard. And as stated in the table, after undergo the food safety risk matrix, this process does not identify as HACCP. Next is the filtering. This process has biological and chemical hazard. However, it is also not identified as HACCP.
For the mixing process, there are biological, chemical, and physical hazards that may occur. After going through food safety risk matrix, there are no significant hazards that we found in mixing process. As we can see from the table, there are the control measures that must be done by the workers to reduce the biological hazards, such as to maintain personal hygiene and adding of correct amount on ingredient as prior to maintain viscosity. After receiving the reaction 3, we found mixing process is not a HACCP. For cooking process, there are biological, chemical, and physical hazards that may occur. After going through food safety risk matrix, the significant hazards that we found in cooking are under biological hazards only. As we can see from the table, there are the control measures that must be done by the workers to reduce the significant hazards, such as the product should to be cooked to minimum 70 Celsius for about more than 20 minutes. After receiving the reaction 3, we found that biological hazards in cooking process is a HACCP that must be focused to eliminate the hazards.
There are biological, chemical, and physical hazards that may occur during filling process. After going through the food safety risk matrix, the significant hazard that we found under biological and physical hazards. As we can see from the table, here are the control measures that must be done by the workers to reduce these significant hazards, such as good hygiene practice, good manufacturing practice, and metal detector. It's a must to avoid any foreign matters. After reviewing the decision tree, we found that physical hazards in filling process is a critical control point that must be focused on to eliminate the hazard. Okay, next, crimping process. There are also biological, chemical, and physical hazards that may occur during crimping process. After going through the food safety risk matrix, the significant hazard that we found is under physical hazard only. As we can see from the table, here are the control measures that must be done by the workers to reduce the significant hazard, such as monitor the process during production and using metal detector must be implemented after finish the production. Okay, next we found that physical hazards in crimping process is a critical control point after reviewing the decision tree. Next step is sterilization process that include heating and cooling. Only biological hazard that we found in this process, and it is a significant hazard. As we can see, here are the control measures in both heating and cooling phase. The temperature during heating phase is 121 degrees to kill the spores of Clostridium and 110 degrees to kill the bacillus within short time. Okay, during the cooling phase, the product must be cooled quickly using cold water, and the water supply should be cleaned. So we found that the sterilization is a critical control point due to the dedicated temperature that we must follow.
For labeling process, there are no biological, chemical, and physical hazards that exist in this process.
For dry storage, there are biological and physical hazards exist. However, as we can see from the table, overall, these hazards are found as not significant after going through food safety risk matrix, so dry storage is not included as critical control point. For distribution process, there are biological and physical hazards exist. However, as we can see from the table, these hazards are found as not significant after going through food safety risk matrix, so distribution process is not included as critical control point. Critical control point number 1 will be frozen storage, and the hazard in this critical control point would be presence of pathogenic bacteria such as Salmonella. The critical limit in this step is temperature of raw material should be kept between -1 Celsius and 5 Celsius. It is important to always monitor frozen storage as it functions to eliminate the existing hazards by monitor and regulate the temperature to the acceptable temperature for every 3 hours. The responsible person to monitor this step is production operator. We found that ensuring the temperature storage of raw material should be kept between -1 Celsius and 5 Celsius by monitor and regulate the temperature to the acceptable temperature for every 3 hours. It can be done if any corrective action is needed.
Critical control point 2 will be the cooking process, and the hazard of this critical control point will be the pathogenic microorganism like Salmonella and E. coli. The critical limit in this step is cooking temperature not less than 70 degrees Celsius and cooking time not exceed 20 minutes. It is important to always monitor the temperature while cooking as it functions to eliminate the existing hazard by monitor and ensure that the temperature is above 100 degrees Celsius and time correctly within a few seconds and monitor every 30 minutes of the batch product line. The person responsible to monitor this step is production operator. We found that if the cooker heating system fault, hold the product at temperature below 77 Fahrenheit until the cooker is repaired and recook the product until critical limit is achieved can be done if any corrective action is needed.
Okay, next critical control point 3 will be filling and crimping. The potential hazard that may occur is foreign matter and fragment of glass, wood and plastic. The critical limit is metal detector must be operated and workers must be monitored the process of filling and crimping. Next, it is important to monitor the foreign matter by visual inspection and using metal detector once the product finish every batch of production. Alright, next, the responsible person who need to monitor this process are quality assurance and production workers. Besides, we found that discard or reject the product can be done if any contamination occurred, and these verifications should be followed if any matters happened and should be recorded. HACCP 3.
Sterilization process is the fourth CCP due to the existence of the most heat-resistant bacterial microorganisms, which are the spores of Bacillus and Clostridium. The aim of sterilization is the destruction of all bacteria, including their spores. In this process, food products filled in sealed containers are exposed to temperature above 100 degrees Celsius, usually ranging from 110 degrees Celsius to 121 degrees Celsius, depending on the type of product in the pressure cooker. If spores are not completely inactivated, vegetative microorganisms will grow from the spores as soon as conditions are favorable again. Favorable conditions will exist when the heat treatment is completed and the products are stored under ambient temperature. The surviving microorganisms can either spoil preserved food or produce toxins which cause food poisoning. These sterilization temperatures are needed for short-term inactivation of Bacillus and Clostridium spores. These spores can also be killed at slightly lower temperature, but longer heat treatment periods must be applied. So it is important for production manager or quality assurance to always monitor the temperature during manufacturing of every batch.
In conclusion, HACCP is a food safety act that are important tasks to follow in a food service industry. HACCP system is very useful tool in food organization. At the end, this effort can be successful by bringing benefit to customer and food service industry. Based on the HACCP summary plan of Kokonattsu, we can conclude that our product is safe for public consumption. As stated in the food safety policy of Kokonattsu Sdn Bhd, we will strictly follow all the safety guidelines and adhere to the rules in order to create a safe food processing environment. These rules and policy are applied for all staff from top management to production operator. Thank you.